Well, on Thursday, they'll quietly and apologetically release their $100 million documentary series on Netflix.
That is why Netflix have finally admitted or revealed this week that they are ending their relationship with her, which I predicted in my book. I mean, the book just shows exactly how Meghan's commercial ambitions failed right at the very beginning.
The irony is earth-shattering, isn't it? Harry and Meghan are the Duke and Duchess of gaslighting themselves. The entire show is a cynical attempt to manipulate viewers into questioning their own recollections of reality.
As ever, the truth is finally coming out when it comes to Meghan Markle's deal with Netflix, and as ever. And of course, it leaves Meghan massively.
The Sussexes face bankruptcy. They're going to run out of money. Not my words, but the words of the fearless Tom Bower.
That until then, until she came along, they would get money on the shake of a hand. She said corporate charities now have to produce corporate governance plans, and people don't give money without that. And he didn't understand that. He was impatient with all that.
But of course, since then, we've seen how she has completely exploited her position and become a global star at the expense of the royal family of Britain. That she and Harry were relegated so far down the order. She got everything she wanted and then knew what she wanted and couldn't get, and that was a lot. That's why, of course, she never intended to stay.
As with all things Meghan and Harry, it would seem, the truth just doesn't really exist in their world. It's their truth, their version of it. Meghan also lambasted the entire BBC engagement interview as rehearsed and an orchestrated reality show, because that's the last thing she'd be engaging in, isn't it? An orchestrated reality show like the Netflix series.
Tom Bower sees through this couple, and he's got previous on this because, of course, Tom Bower was the author of the original devastating book, Revenge.
So you've got revenge, now you've got betrayal.
And now we're all paying the price. The monarchy is paying the price. But unfortunately, this saga has a long way to go, and it's going to constantly damage the royal family.
Piers Morgan called them grifters. Tom Bower predicted every single detail of this collapse before it happened. And today, in April 2026, they have both been proven spectacularly right. Because right now, somewhere in an American warehouse, 650,000 unsold products worth $21 million are slowly going past their expiry date. Jam, candles, honey, flower sprinkles, all paid for with Netflix money, all sitting there going nowhere.
Now we even know more about, which is why Harry and Meghan earned so much less from the Netflix deal than you might think, and any of the additional cash they could generate is all tied up in as ever inventory that is not moving. And that is why the panic. That's why all the weirdness regarding the brand for as ever this year. Yes, Netflix has left, and of course that changes the parameters of what Meghan can do.
This is the story of how Meghan Markle took $100 million from Netflix and turned it into the most embarrassing financial collapse in celebrity history. And nobody has put it all together in one place until right now. Stay with me, because the Tyler Perry story alone will make your jaw drop.
Even I couldn't afford them, and frankly, I wouldn't know what to do with them. So I've resisted that temptation.
That is what the headlines screamed when Harry and Meghan signed their Netflix deal in 2020. $100 million. The Sussex squad celebrated. Meghan gave interviews glowing with pride about her new Hollywood empire. But Piers Morgan looked at that number and called it immediately for what it was: a myth, a performance, smoke and mirrors dressed up in a press release.
Harry and Meghan, the dreariest couple in the history of planet Earth, if you excuse the massive book deals, the Silicon Valley startup preaching videos about well-being, the podcast, the speeches, and the major network interviews with everyone from Oprah Winfrey to James Corden. But they've barely been seen or heard at all, have they? Well, on Thursday, they'll quietly and apologetically release their $100 million documentary series on Netflix. There are trailers for this, and viewers with sensitive stomach should look away now.
And Tom Bower went further, because Bower actually did the work. He talked to the insiders. He followed the money. And what he found completely destroys the $100 million story Meghan has been dining out on ever since. Here is what Bower and Morgan want you to understand. Netflix did not hand Harry and Meghan a check and wave goodbye. Netflix used a massive chunk of that money to fund as ever entirely. The manufacturing, the shipping, the branding, the warehouse. All of it came directly out of whatever Harry and Meghan were supposed to keep.
But at the same time, there's just such an oddness, these like random bits of products that she's popping out, that there's no cohesion to the brand. Like nothing makes sense anymore when it comes to As Ever. And of course, it didn't make a lot of sense in the first place, but Netflix was very much guiding so much of it from the beginning. And with them gone, the game entirely changed.
So, let us do the maths the way Piers Morgan does it, bluntly. Start with 60 million, the conservative estimate. Netflix takes back 20 to 30 million for As Ever gone. Production costs for the documentaries, another 15 million gone. American taxes on what remains gone. Suddenly, that life-changing $100 million deal leaves Harry and Meghan with somewhere around $12 million in actual spendable money. 12 million sounds fine.
Netflix series. Michelle Hussein from the BBC, who carried out the interview, said, actually, no, it was just an interview. Even the BBC's long-serving royal correspondent Nicholas Witchell, normally bent double to avoid upsetting absolutely anybody in royal circles, can't take it anymore. Nothing they ever say seems to stand up to reasonable scrutiny. And I say that as somebody who lost his last job presenting Good Morning Britain because I wouldn't apologise for saying I didn't believe Meghan Markle. Think about that.
Until Tom Bower points out they are burning 3 to 4 million every single year just to exist in Montecito. The maths does not work. It never worked. And both Bower and Morgan knew it from the start. Now, here's the detail Tom Bower exposed that made Meghan's team absolutely furious. And the detail Piers Morgan has been gleefully repeating ever since. Meghan spent months telling everyone about her beautiful artisanal jam. Strawberries picked from her own Montecito garden, standing at the hob in her kitchen with little Liliette looking on. A gorgeous.
One of the many revelations in the book. I mean, the jam, which was meant to be strawberries picked in her garden and then lovingly turned into jam on the hob in her kitchen with Lilibet looking on, in fact is a spread manufactured in Ohio, Illinois, and put into a rather attractive jar, which tracked the jar makers down too.
The whole story, Tom Bower concluded, was a fabrication sold to the public at $14 a jar. Tom Bower decided to find out if any of it was true. He tracked down the actual manufacturer, not a charming farmhouse kitchen, a commercial bottling plant in Ohio and Illinois. He found the jar makers. He found the facility, and what he discovered was that the factory had sold very few jars to the bottling plant. The volumes were nowhere near what Meghan claimed. The strawberries she described picking herself.
And they sold very few of the jars to the Illinois bottling plant and manufacturing. So of course not. That is why Netflix have finally admitted or revealed this week that they are ending their relationship with her, which I predicted in my book. I mean, the book just shows exactly how Meghan's commercial ambitions failed right at the very beginning, because for two reasons. One is she didn't have enough money to launch her project. I mean, you need a fortune. And secondly, the only reason why people buy Meghan's jams and sprinkles and everything is because they love Meghan. They want to be associated with her. And she doesn't have that sort of profile.
Piers Morgan called it immediately. He branded Harry and Meghan the Sussex grifters publicly to his 8.7 million followers. And he said the variety exposed on their Netflix relationship was, in his words, a brutal and often hilarious demolition. Brutal and hilarious. Even Piers could not keep a straight face. But Tom Bower and Piers Morgan do not even need to speculate anymore, because in January 2026, Meghan's own website accidentally told the world exactly how badly As Ever was really performing.
And that's bad for Meghan Markle, because As Ever is not selling. Let's check it out, see if we have that $300 flower box. So all this stuff. And these bundles right here, guys, are for a bookmark that she deliberately, I think, understocked to try and sell out other stock that's not moving. She did this, a month or two ago now? None of it's moved. It's all still for sale. We have the bundles, all still for sale. We have all this stuff. These were technically Valentine's Day, still for sale. All this, most of this stuff, guys, was made for Christmas, and it's still for sale.
Critics discovered a glitch by adding products to the basket in huge quantities. The As Ever website revealed its actual stock numbers, the real inventory, the truth behind all those claims of selling out in minutes.
This was found on Reddit, and the thread was started by Make sure I get attribute it. So it's Kiwi Love 777. This is a person who kind of discovered it. And basically what you do is you put in an absurd number. So 10,000, 100,000, most likely 100,000, million, whatever, of items into your as ever bucket. And it will let you know how much is still left in inventory and how much they can put in your cart.
650,000 individual products worth $21.8 million at retail price, unsold. Tom Bower was not surprised. The sales were never real. The scarcity was manufactured. The sellouts were controlled. The whole thing was a performance. The breakdown is extraordinary.
If you pull it up right here, we're going to expand it. So guys, I have $535,000 worth of orange marmalade in my cart and almost $6 million of Meghan's signature food spread. She has $6 million worth of food spread right now in her inventory, and you know it. This is an epic fail. This is if you're ordering something.
137,000 fruit spread gift boxes at $42 each. 44,000 jars of marmalade. 80,000 tubs of flour sprinkles. 90,000 candles. And Piers Morgan loved this detail. Some of those candles arrived at customers without a wick. Someone paid Meghan Markle prices for a candle they could not physically light.
No. You guys, there's no wick. Wait, producer Kylie, there's no wick, right? Am I crazy? Where's the thing that I light? This has to be a joke. No, I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding. You guys, this isn't a stunt. There's literally nothing to light in here. No, it's not pasted down. My producer's in my ear. Is it pasted down? No, it's not pasted down. Zoom in. There's literally nothing. I ordered Meghan Markle's candle. There's nothing to light. I literally want a refund. Meghan Markle, send me a freaking refund. So I paid, how much did I pay for this? $64. I paid $64 for a candle you can't light. And you know how God has a sense of humor?
But the number that truly finishes the myth is this. Someone tracked actual sales over 2 consecutive days in January 2026. In 48 hours, across the entire as ever range, Meghan sold 15 jars of marmalade and 39 gift boxes. 15 jars. Piers Morgan had been saying for years that the Meghan effect was a fiction, that it collapsed the moment real money was on the line. 15 jars of marmalade in 48 hours is the proof he was waiting for. Meghan is screwed.
Meghan is screwed. All her money, guys, all the money they could make right now is trapped in a craptastic brand that can't move, that can't sell. And I think that's why we're seeing a little bit of the panic. That's why I think we're seeing a little bit of the more appearances and these sorts of things. And that's like, I feel like a frantic energy from her. And I think it's partly because of that. Because once Netflix left and Meghan realized, oh, so the money I was supposed to get was put into this brand that I didn't really care about that much. Like she did and she didn't.
Tom Bower adds the killer detail. At that rate, it would take years to clear the stock. And these products have expiry dates. The jam goes off. The candles lose their scent. $21 million worth of product with a ticking clock. And separately, Netflix confirmed they had over $10 million of as ever goods they simply could not shift. So they started giving it away to their own employees for free. Free jam in the Netflix break room. That is what a $100 million empire looks like today, according to both Tom Bower and Piers.
Right. Netflix paid for everything. So, what does that mean for Harry and Meghan's deal with Netflix? Because supposedly, according to the Variety article, they got their whole deal or whatever was worth about $60 million. And, you know, it's been rumored to be upwards of $100 million. And you can't just help but sit there and go a little bit. It's like, well, where did all the money go? Like, they haven't done any major renovations on their home. I think they probably repainted some things, maybe had to redo some floors or whatever. My parents had to do that to a home they moved into. But we haven't seen massive gutting of the home.
By late 2025, it ranked 1,217 on the platform. Some reports put it at 3,436th out of every show on Netflix. 3,436th. Total views for the entire second season, 2 million. Netflix cancelled it without a single public announcement.
Now, against this deluge of derision, Netflix today released a new trailer for the second half of this compelling series, which comes out on Thursday. Viewer discretion is advised. This clip contains weapons-grade hypocrisy.
I wonder what would have happened to us had we not gone out when we did.
Our security was being pulled. Everyone in the world knew where we were.
I said, we need to get out of here. We are on a freedom flight. To see this institutional gaslighting.
Tom Bower's verdict is devastating. Meghan does not have the talent to hold an audience. She's not a great actress. She projects no genuine warmth when she is not performing. A lifestyle show requires a host who is compelling, warm, and expert. Meghan was none of those things. Piers Morgan marked the occasion perfectly. When Netflix offered a downgraded first-look deal after the cancellation, he retweeted a joke reading, "Netflix gave Harry and Meghan first refusal on their ideas."
Absolutely. I mean, the cost of living for them is enormous. I mean, the security alone, which they feel they need, must cost between $1.5 and $2 million a year. The upkeep of their home and their staff must cost at least another $2 million. And then there's the rest. So I think that they're running out of money. I mean, I've conservatively put their annual expenditure at $3 million. But for that, they'd have to earn $4 or $5 million. And it's they're running out of money because they run out of people to interest to buy their story. And that's why I think in the end, they'll be desperate to come back to Britain to revalidate and reconcile with the royal family.
Fire. Frustrating rival streamers who wanted the rights to say no first. 8.7 million people read that and understood everything. Now, the story Tom Bower says reveals more about Harry and Meghan's true financial situation than any spreadsheet could. And the story Piers Morgan says proves everything he has argued about this couple's character, Tyler Perry. When Harry and Meghan fled Britain in 2020 with no plan and nowhere to go, Tyler Perry opened his $18 million Beverly Hills mansion to them and gave them his personal security team. An act of extraordinary generosity toward people he barely knew.
And yeah, I did say Meghan was becoming a royal rock star, and I'm pleased you quote me in there because it shows that I was, like the rest of the British media, very positive about your new bride until your mutual behaviour became hypocritical and ridiculous after the wedding. Your claim that you're the victims of a dirty game is especially brazen, given that these trailers have been released to deliberately overshadow a visit by the Prince and Princess of Wales to the United States. The timing, of course, is unforgivable, if entirely unsurprising. And a typically cynical ploy to overshadow a vitally important royal tour, the first since the death of Queen Elizabeth. And what about his father in all this, a man who's not even been coronated as king yet, still mourning the death of his mother? Is he going to cop it in this series? You can bet your life he will. Charles is going to have to take it again from his son, with no ability to speak out and return fire.
Now, in 2026, sources tell Globe magazine that Perry is finished with the couple entirely. The reason? A $14 million loan that Harry and Meghan have allegedly not paid back. And according to insiders, Perry cannot even get them on the phone. They will not return his calls. Piers Morgan asks the question everyone is thinking. How? How does a couple who received $100 million from Netflix, $25 million from Spotify, and $27 million from Harry's memoir allegedly fail to repay the man who gave them a home when they had nothing? Tom Bower has the answer. Security costs $2 million a year, the Montecito mortgage, staff, legal fees as ever losses. Bower calculates they need $4 to $5 million a year just to break even. And right now their income is essentially zero. Every revenue stream has dried up simultaneously. Spotify gone, Netflix brand deal finished, show cancelled, as ever drowning. Piers Morgan said it years ago. This couple confused fame with financial security. They mistook the world's fascination with their story for a sustainable business model.
And it was going to be a very quiet life outside of the royal spotlight. Little did he know that Meghan was planning for life in Hollywood, California. So Tom tells me that Meghan told Harry it was impossible for them to live happily in Britain. That's what he tells me in this interview, in today's show. And he says, for that I blame her entirely. She couldn't find huge fame and fortune on her own accomplishments. The problem, and this is so devastating, I talked to Tom about Meghan's qualities and otherwise, and he said she was intelligent, strategic, but he said very limited talent. That woman hasn't got a talented bone in her body. She's a grifter. She's a tryhard. She's a wannabe. Oh, you want to be my lover? You want to be my best friend? He says that she's now, Meghan, it's an incredible interview. He says that Meghan is paying the price of betrayal.
The Tyler Perry story is the most brutal proof yet that he was right. Which brings us to this week, April 2026, and what Meghan is doing right now. Australia, a girls' weekend, $3,000 a ticket in Sydney. Meghan is the star attraction flying to the other side of the world to sit on a stage. Piers Morgan said one word about this trip: desperation. Tom Bower said, "Going to Australia does not solve anything. If you cannot conquer America, the biggest consumer market in the world, why would Australia be different?"
Well, in my view, the marriage is okay. I mean, I think that Harry always needed and loved Meghan. It was a marriage made in heaven for him. She obviously went into the marriage with other things in mind, namely fame and fortune and a glittering career in California. But I think on the whole they have a good relationship. I don't think there's any evidence that they don't.
What about the suggestion that Meghan is a controlling, narcissistic personality? Of course, your brilliant previous book, which was Revenge, suggested that it was actually Meghan Markle that was the driving force behind Harry's departure from the royal family.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think what I show in this book is, in that episode, that she actually sort of fueled his grievances. What happened until he met Meghan, he was quite happy.
But here is what nobody is saying out loud. In September 2024, Meghan quietly filed 12 separate as ever trademarks with the Australian government. 12 covering food, candles, clothing, dog treats, jewelry, home decor, and more. All granted in 2025. Tom Bower and Piers Morgan both understand exactly what this means. Meghan is not going to Australia for a girls' weekend. She's going to Australia to find new customers for 650,000 products currently going off in an American warehouse. And the agency organizing the event collapsed in November 2025, owing the Australian Tax Office over $500,000 in unpaid taxes. Administrators are chasing the founder. Yet, 2 weeks after that became public, the same agency announced a $3,000 a ticket event with Meghan as the headline act.
Then Meghan Markle, fresh off of her dumping by Netflix, they've made no room for error. They're done with her. She is now going to be featured. The billing is it's called Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, her best life retreat. But as best as I can tell, this girls' weekend like no other. That's one way to put it. If you read the copy carefully, an event that promises a lot of word salad that sounds very Meghan Markle. Quote, powerful conversations, relaxation, laughter, and unforgettable experiences.
Australia has tackled illegal immigration very successfully. And I think given the fact that Harry and Meghan are on their way, I think it's time to reactivate Operation Sovereign Borders, Paul. Airstrikes, get the boats out. Because no, the bottom line is, I mean, I can't speak for your viewers, but I will tell you that lots of Australian viewers of the Mark Dolan show don't want to see Harry and Meghan. The reason 100%. Why it went down well in 2018, Paul, is because the Australian public didn't know Meghan Markle very well. Well, they know her now. And what do they know her to be?
Bower predicted this word for word. He said she would end up selling product on the other side of the world out of sheer desperation. Here she is in Australia with her jam. Let Tom Bower and Piers Morgan leave you with the final numbers. Archwell charity donations collapsed from $13 million in 2021 to $2.1 million in 2024. They spent $5.1 million that same year, a $2.5 million deficit. 60% of staff fired. Meghan's acting comeback. Actor Jack Quaid, asked on camera about working with her on an upcoming Amazon film, froze completely. Said only it was insane. then praised literally everyone else in the cast without mentioning Meghan once. Piers Morgan noted that in Hollywood, when you have nothing nice to say, you talk about someone else. That is exactly what Quaid did. Tom Bower has said it from the beginning. Meghan is paying the price of betrayal. She burned every relationship and every institution that helped her rise. And the bill was always going to arrive. Piers Morgan has said it from the beginning. The empire was never real. The jam was never selling. The show was never compelling. The Meghan effect was always a fiction. In April 2026, they have both been proven right about every single thing. Meghan Markle had $100 million, the world's biggest streaming platform, and the most famous name in lifestyle branding. And she burned through all of it. The only thing left is the jam.